Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. Would like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners from around the globe. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube page, and share this audio podcast on all social media sites that you are on, such as Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Ladies and gentlemen, this audio podcast is available in three forms. I'm going to say two forms: audio and as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. I am the founder and president of GRCAM, the Grassroots Community Activist Movement. Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast is our Black media component. I would like to encourage my listeners to subscribe to my Medium page so that you can look over my sources. I provide my Medium page in the comment section below this audio podcast. Those of you who don't know me, then get to know me by purchasing and reading my story, quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, second edition. It's available as an ebook for $9.99 or as a paperback for $15 plus shipping and handling. I provide the link to my Amazon author page in the comment section below this audio podcast. After you have read my story, and if you agree with my vision and plan to improve Black America, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform and get on camera and let's talk about it. I want to encourage others to get involved with our cause to back up this film project. We have upgraded our platform by moving from um, audio podcast, but to a video podcast using StreamYard. We want to interact with our audience in real time through Facebook Messenger during our live streams. I'm going to send a challenge out to everyone that's listening to this audio podcast. I need you all to support our film project so that we can move beyond cyberspace and get our story on the big screen. To let the Black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for our people who are trapped in American ghettos, starting in Chicago. Quote, Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins. You can be a part of this historic docudrama by contributing to our campaign either on our GoFundMe page or on our PayPal page, which will help with fun marketing, promotion, clearance, legal, and general expenses. Our aim is to raise $250,000. We're using crowdfunding so that everyone would know exactly where the money is going. We're using a GoFundMe and our PayPal giving fund. If you are a U.S. citizen, then you can use our PayPal giving fund as a tax write off because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit faith-based and community advocacy organization. I use my platform in order to interact with everyone on my friends list, as well as to give business owners, church leaders, and people that have special talents an opportunity to share their information with my listeners from the global community. After the show, I usually offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcast, YouTube channel, create free websites for their business or ministries, find grants and scholarships, and legal services, all for free. Coming events. Friday, January 24th, we have guest speaker, Minister Twileen Lee from Ohio. Please mark your calendar for our monthly virtual conference, Saturday, January 25th. The theme, When the West Side Burned, a Chicago Stories documentary. Where? YouTube Live slash StreamYard. Time, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. American Central Time, 3 p.m. Canadian Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, 9 p.m. South African Time, 10 p.m. East African Time, and 8 p.m. UK Time. Instructions on how to participate on our interactive monthly virtual conference. Just send me your email address to my backup Facebook page through Facebook Messenger or on my, if you're friends with me on LinkedIn, send me your email address that way as well. Um, I would say those of you that's on Instagram, um, I would say X, just and even TikTok before they, you know, dismantled TikTok. Just send me your email address to my inbox, and I will email you the link to get on this podcast live. I want people to watch the video first after I email it to you, and then let me know when you're ready to come on the show. I prefer that you let me see you on camera first so we can avoid trolls. The title of this presentation: Texas Representative Jean Yu addresses the relationship between Asians and African Americans and Graham awakening the global African family through our media content. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today on our second live stream of 2025. We're always talking about Black ownership, Black excellence, all of those different things, but yet we want to talk about that on other people's platforms. This is why it's important that our listeners support what we're trying to do by helping us get my revised book on that bestsellers list and donating what you can towards our film project. And currently straighten out things with our GoFundMe page. Our PayPal Given Fund page, that's already worked out. Um, and I provide the updated information in the comment section below this audio podcast. I want all my listeners to, again, I want all my listeners to know where their contribution will be going as it pertains to our film project. That's why we're using crowdfunding, being transparent with that. Our first topic: Texas State Representative Jean Yu addresses the relationship between Asians and African Americans. I ran across a podcast on YouTube called Define American with Jose Antonio Vargas. I encourage my listeners to go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section below this audio podcast. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. Just listen specifically from, I'm going to say, 4.42 through 9. What I took from this interview, State Representative Jean Yu said, and Jose Antonio Vargas, is that they wouldn't be in this country having all these opportunities if it wasn't for Black Americans. That's number one. Number two, all the rights and privileges that Black Americans fought and died for. All these other non white groups coming over here are benefiting off of our struggle. That's why we're not going to take any disrespect from these other groups because, as they said, it was our grandparents' blood that was shed in order for everyone else to obtain those rights, privileges, and freedom. All these other groups who voluntarily left their homeland came up here. If it wasn't for Black Americans, then none of them could be over here because the white supremacist financial elites did not want anybody here except for white Europeans. All these other non white groups are coming over here in mass after the civil rights era. That's why we say put some respect on our name. They mentioned that the Asian community and the African American community don't have the greatest relationships. Let's talk about that. When Asians came into our community, we welcomed them and viewed them as refugees and asylum seekers because white America did not allow them to open up their businesses in the white community. And that's historical facts. You can do the research. We living in the information age. During World War II, they were viewed as the yellow pearl, a racist metaphor that depicted peoples of East and Southeast Asia as an external danger to the Western world. That gave rise to Japanese Americans being placed in concentration camps during World War II. And they have been compensated, by the way, for that. Or let's say they got reparations. The same thing for Native Americans. They ended up getting reparations, even though what happened to their ancestors, um, that happened long years ago, more than years, but I'm gonna just say over 100 years ago. But again, those two groups got reparations, or they were compensated. But when it come down to Black Americans demanding reparations for what our ancestors went through, they want to give us the cold shoulder and say, well, they can't afford it and all this and that. But yet they have all these benefits and resources for illegal immigrants that's coming over here. So that's waking Black Americans up. And again, I've been talking about this for the past 33 years. And I even predicted the migrant crisis in my revised book. Read my story and you'll see. Again, what's holding us up as Black Americans is this slave mentality. Now they're at, now they're at it again. This time, stereotyping Haitians, saying they are stealing people's pet dogs and eating them. They mentioned that Asians, Latinos, and African Americans all have the same oppressor, the white supremacist financial elites. The problem is a majority of these other groups are selected to be the buffer class over Black Americans. That's done by design, because they're the ones that's, controlling everything. Is what it is. Um, Representative Jean Yu and Jose Antonio Vargas realized Black Americans are the reason why all these other groups are in America. To add insult to injury, many of these Asian groups are teaming up with Edward Bloom to roll back all of the gains Black Americans made in this country. And that's a shame. If you do the research about Edward Bloom, he's I believe he's a Jewish American. And he's acting very, showing anti-black racism. Because notice he's not going after all these benefits that the illegal immigrants are getting. You see that? But again, I mean, it is what it is. I can't. I'm not going to go on and on about that because again, a lot of Black Americans are off gold. So that's the reason why stuff like this happens to us. And like I say, it's going to get worse. And again, I do not want to spend another 33 years reaching out to Black Americans if they're not interested in working with me to help turn my vision into a reality to help people. It is what it is. This is why I'm reaching out to African immigrants. Big time. Time is running out. I'm doing the best that I can to get this business up and running so we can move it from behind a computer. Let me go back to the topic. Um, so Edward Bloom fought against affirmative action. These other groups want white validation, and that's a problem. It's also a problem in our community because a lot of our Black politicians are in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. They are being paid to sell us out. It is what it is. This is why Black Americans as a collective remain stagnant while these other groups are advancing over us. Black Americans, I'm going to say our children are got to compete against, you know, these illegal immigrant children. Okay. And the problem is they're going to be on the same, starting off at the same level that I would say, illegal immigrant children are. And within a couple of years, they're going to bypass Black American children. That's what the white supremacist financially elites wants to do in the first place. They want to flood our, I would say, target the urban Black population, just flood the zone or flood the African American community with illegal immigrants so that they can compete for resources against Black Americans. And this is going to be the downfall for Black Americans because too many of us are off code. My book, Solution for Black America, I provide the code for the CAM members. You know what I'm saying? But, you're going to have to be a CAM member. Again, Black Americans as a collective remain stagnant while these other groups are advancing over us. Black Americans are finally waking up and realizing that these other groups are not reciprocating with us, which have given rise to the delineation movement. Last year, we had Jewish people and Palestinian people upset with Black Americans for not taking a side and speaking out for their cause. I have been encouraging the CAM members to focus on our own issues because our house is on fire. It was good what Dr. King did, during the 60s, and our grandparents, they did what they could. And I'm not knocking that. All I'm saying, and then when Dr. King was, finna stump, he was about to stump for reparations, he was making arrangements to go to Washington to demand our check. But that's when they had him assassinated, unfortunately. Um, so that's the sad thing. We have to make sure that we are good first before we start worrying about others. That's what I keep trying to share with my members. We are M1. meaning we are melanated first before any political party or social issues. Our goal is to solve Black issues first within our community. I've been standing on business for 33 years, and yet I have little to no support for my cause. This is why I'm online. And notice now, every time I try to do my video podcast, the sound and stuff is janky. That's again, that's these people that's trying. If first of all, if Black Americans is not listening to me, then what's the problem? Why are you giving me so much, trying to kick me offline? I mean, like I say, they already kicked me off of Facebook. I thank God I had a backup page, but that's, um, my time on there is going to be limited. But again, this is why I keep encouraging my listeners. If you're serious about doing business with me, exchange emails so that way I can email you everything that I do online. Stuff is real. This is not a game. Um, our children's future is at stake here. And these other groups that's coming over here don't give a um they don't care about our ancestors' struggles and all that stuff. They over here to get the bag. All they're gonna say is, they started to hear about that, but it's not their problem. And those people that's coming over here is gonna end up taking over the United States of America. It's what it is. Um, and this is why I'm online to broadcast my vision and plan to those who will listen and to connect with like-minded Black Americans and like-minded African immigrants within the United States of America who are brave enough and smart enough for them to make themselves known to me. Don't wait until I am dead. Work with me while I am alive. I'm not running for no public office. Again, if I was just trying to make money, I would have written many a book. I'm actually losing money. I'm paying for this business title since 2010. Pay the city, state, and the IRS. And I'm still doing that because I believe that this business is gonna get. But the reason why I have to do a film is because a lot of our people don't like to read. And some people saying what I'm talking about is boring. It's boring that I want to create a business that will create Black jobs. It's boring. But you got to sit up here and complain about the white man and the government. So again, that's slave mentality. We've been neglecting our own for far too long. Notice all these other groups are getting upset because we have been known as the people that fight for everybody else. That's why they call us the N word. I'm like, man, I ain't gonna be fighting somebody else's battles. I want to focus on helping my own group first. Get ourselves situated. Get out of this foolishness that we're in, this slave mentality, and for African immigrants to heal from that colonized mindset. I've said Black Americans have two choices: either embrace annihilation or embrace survival. We will only focus on GRCAM members who want more out of life. Those who are not a part of us, we will pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast and share it with your friends on all social media sites that you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. Our second topic, GRCAM awakening the global African family through our media content. I found a video clip entitled, quote, Macron faces criticism for defending French troops being in Africa. Now, this is coming from DW News, unquote. I encourage my listeners to go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section below this audio podcast. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. Basically, what I've learned from the video clip, French President Emmanuel Macron called Africans ungrateful for kicking them out of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. It has spread to Senegal, Ivory Coast, and Chad. If you know anything about France, their whole economy is based off of resources that they're siphoning out of West Africa. If you listen to this video clip of how he has a colonized mentality, ever since the so-called end of colonization in West Africa, France started neo-colonizing through military agreements, hiding behind fighting terrorism in order to have an excuse to remain in Africa. They have 14 West African nations stealing their resources, not paying much of nothing, and bringing it back to France to help power their economy. After 39 years, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger finally were able to take back their country. France hasn't been right ever since, and now they're being kicked out of more African nations. These African countries have been living in third world status the whole time, and yet he has the nerve to say that they could have said thank you. Well, I'm glad they didn't say thank you. I think what they should do is push for reparation for colonization. That's what they should do. I think 54 African nations. But hey, it is what it is. I ain't over there right now. But I'm trying to because I can't reach my people here. I'm doing the best that I can. I don't want to do another 33 years being stagnant. Me and Sister Renee can't do this stuff ourselves. I'm not looking for no handout. I'm trying to find qualified Black middle class professional and qualified African immigrants that's going to work with me on business. That's all I'm trying to connect with. Then I don't have to be behind a computer. But this is where I'm at right now because I have little to no support. Again, I can't make Black Americans buy the book. I can't make Black Americans items from the virtual store. Can't make Black Americans donate to the film project. That's a personal choice. And again, this is why I'm reaching out to African immigrants within the United States of America. Because I mean business, but again, I don't want to be doing this another 33 years. Yes, it's frustrating. I ain't gonna sit up here and lie. It's a turnoff. But I have to do this because this is what I have been called to do. And that's why before I leave America, I want to make sure we create the best African American business within the United States of America. So that way we can do international trade with our brothers and sisters in the continent from 10 African nations. And those that's, here in Chicago that rejected my vision and plan for the past 33 years, mark my words, everybody in Chicago is going to want to be a part, especially in the Black community, is going to want to be a part of this business when I start making money. But there ain't nothing changed. I require that people are going to, who come through our doors, they're going to get checked. I want to know up front, that they sign that. We're going to first put everything out on the table when people come through our doors. Let them know what time it is. They have to sign that community pledge. They have to pass our criminal background check. and they're going to have to submit their thumbprint to be placed in our database. Everybody. Those that don't want to do that, they can't be a part of us because we're going to hold people accountable, especially con artists. We want to make sure we weed those people out, off code Negroes, anyone that's going to try to undermine us. Okay, getting back to the getting back to this topic. What did France do for them but to keep them in poverty? That's coming from a colonized mentality and calling them ungrateful. They should be grateful for having an occupied military force in their country who is stealing the resources. At least the Chinese um, trying to help improve the infrastructure, like building roads and power plants. The one thing I love about the internet is that you can see what's going on in real time. These white supremacist financial elites want to hoard all the resources for themselves because that's just how they are. Understand, a colonizer is a colonizer, period. A colonizer wants to come in our spaces, take from us and tell us what to do in our own space. Kyle Chicago objective is to develop partnerships with 10 African nations if only I am able to get this thing popping in America first, because that's going to be for credibility. I'm not going to go to Africa empty handed. I want to come to Africa to create jobs for um, Black Africans in South Africa, because that's where I'm going. And I want them to become GRCAM members. So that way, all of us will be on the same page. I don't operate like the next black man. I have my own style and way of doing things. If people don't like how I get down, then oh well, keep it moving. And that's real. Those of you that think that this is a scam, then what I would say to you is don't come to no events with my name on it. You know what I'm saying? And we could remain strangers for life. That's why I require people to, their thumbprints, because we're going to keep tabs on everybody. Make sure that we don't have any freeloaders in our midst. Everybody's going to do their part. That's what I'm on. How can we get like-minded Black Americans who are CAM members working together with like-minded African immigrants within the United States? Then we want to expand the business to Africa, to the African continent, so that we can um, get our foot in on African soil and gain access to buying or investing in those mining industries, real estate businesses, and hotel industry. I, I have seen many videos of how people in the Congo are risking their lives and dying because of a lack of safety equipment. I hate to see children working in, hold on, bear with me. Yes, I'm reading my speech without shame because I want to make sure people hear me loud and clear, and I want to make sure I'm on point with what I'm talking about. No shame at all. Again, I hate to see children working in these mines. Children need to be in school. These multinational corporations are paying them pennies on the dollar. I'm all about Black people, African people, the Caribbean people standing up for themselves economically, whether it's in America, Africa, the Caribbean, or South America. Notice when we start standing up for ourselves and demanding social change, then things start to get done and these other groups start to act wrong. Graham is calling on descendants of American slaves slash freemen and the diaspora to stand up for yourself, stand up for your family, stand up for your community, stand up for your people. Don't let these other groups come into our space and disrespect us, especially when our ancestors helped these other groups to come to the United States of America. It's very important. They always want to lie. These white supremacist financial elites lying, talking about we're lazy, but their behinds is the one that didn't want to work in those on the plantation themselves. They the one that left Europe. Also, we didn't ask them to come to our continent. They imposed themselves. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. We have to remind these other groups in America that if it wasn't for our ancestors, they wouldn't be here in the United States of America, because there wouldn't be a United States of America if our ancestors didn't build this country from scratch. So put respect on our name. Until Black Americans and African immigrants in America start to get in the habit of being in control of our own resources and recognize who our common adversary is, we cannot do much of anything. The solution for Black America is the eye of Chicago. The solution. It's also the solution for Africa. Our main objective is to have both like-minded Black Americans who will become GRCAM members and like-minded African immigrants who will become GRCAM members to heal from the scars of slavery and colonization point blank. We don't have much time to get this popping. I've already invested 33 years of my life trying to do my part by providing my revised book, my virtual store, and this platform to get my message out loud and clear to the Black world. Now I'm trying to do a film. The film project is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group. So help me God. But one thing for sure, I ain't gonna put on no front for nobody. Those that rejected me for the past 33 years, all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna hire people, you know, so that way I don't have to be dealing with people too much because, you know, it is what it is. That's the whole purpose of me doing this. We're gonna respect Sister Renee, even though she preferred to be behind the scenes. If it wasn't for Sister Renee, I would not pursue Gricam this long. She's been working with me faithfully for the past 13 years. I'm grateful for her. And I am going to reward her publicly once we get this organization up and running. So help me God. Those of you that's on my friends list, that's in my social groups, that's sitting up here, taking me for joke, that's okay. It's fine and dandy. You just better not show up at our mandatory orientation or I will embarrass you. It's just that simple. You're not going to be part of my business. I'm only working with those that's going to support me. If you're not supporting me right now, forget you. Don't come around me once I have money and start hiring people and this business is successful. It didn't have to take no 13. Sorry, it didn't have to take no 33 years to get this organization up and running. The reason why it takes so doggone long is because there's so many of our people that's off cold. 9 years it took, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to get rid of the French because they had to connect with other like-minded Africans. So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to connect with the like-minded, like Americans and like-minded African immigrants in America so we can get this thing. They will go down in history with me and Sister Renee. And that's what my film project is going to be about. African immigrants in America and Native Africans on the continent understand if we lose Africa, then we lose everything. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. Thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Put me on blast by telling all of your friends and family to listen to our content on our YouTube page. I'm going to send a challenge out to everybody that's listening to this audio podcast. I need you all to support our film project so that we can move beyond cyberspace and get our story on the big screen to let the Black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for our people that's trapped in American ghettos, starting in Chicago. Liberator, made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins. You can be a part of this historic docudrama by contributing to our campaign either on our GoFundMe page or on our PayPal page, which will help fund marketing, promotion, clearance, legal, and general expenses. I would like to thank everyone who have contributed or will contribute to support our film project on our GoFundMe page once we get that dated, because I'm just waiting for them to a representative to talk with me so we can get this thing dated for this year. Um, Also, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can use our PayPal funding page as a tax write-off because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit, faith-based, and community advocacy organization. You can also purchase items from our virtual store or purchase my revised book. The ebook is $9.99, or the paperback is $15 plus shipping and handling. I want people to read my story first so you'll know what you're getting yourself involved with. I don't operate like the next black man. I have my own style and way of doing things. If you support me, I will support you. If you have funny style with me, I will put you on blast. That's why we're going to have that Judas list. Anybody goes on that Judas list, they're going to have their name, photo ID, and address so everybody know who you are. We're going to excommunicate with those persons, and they will be barred for life. If they try to come in on our premises, we will call the police and we will press charges. We can't do what we want to do to them because this is the white man's country. It is what it is. In Africa, we're going to handle them. That's all I'm saying. You're not going to sit up here and try to undermine us, steal money from the business, lie on us. No corruption. This is how I get down. This is why a lot of people don't want to work with me. But hey, it is what it is. Trying to be nice. This is on business. But we appreciate your support. You can find all the links below this this audio podcast in the comment section. Thank you for listening um, to our YouTube live or the replay. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing. I want to thank all of you for listening to our audio podcast on Spotify. If you're new to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast, welcome to our safe space. Oh boy, just bear with me, please. Welcome to our safe space where we discuss Black issues. We do this every week. Please do me a favor. Click that subscribe button, hit that like button, and join us each and every time we're here. This will conclude our this will conclude our audio podcast for today. We will see you on the next episode. Peace. and blessings.